welcome back to Color Our World Blackened. Today we're going to be sending a package to the town I was born in, Walterboro, South Carolina, to an old friend of mine, Miss Tammy Frierson. Her last name is now Chambers, but she'll always be Tammy Frierson to me. As this project goes, this will be about as far back in time as we go when trading with old friends. This is a picture of Tammy about the time we met. And here's a picture of me. Tammy and I met in first grade. She showed up at school one day in Miss Beeson's class. That was my first grade teacher, a little bit after the school year had begun. Now, I don't remember every detail because at that age there's a lot going on. Every time you turn around, you're learning something new, seeing something you've never seen before. It's a big world. What I do remember is what stuck out to me most at the time was that the new girl in class was very quiet. She had very sad eyes, but at the same time, she had half a smile that kind of neutralized the sadness in her eyes. It created an unbeatable look of determination. Then one day, shortly after she had first appeared, she got on my bus at the end of the day. Stop after stop, she never got off, and as we approached the end of the line, our house, we got to a point where it was just my brother Jeff and I and Tammy. My other brother Kevin, he was in kindergarten, so he had half days. He was probably already at home. I figured, well, she must live past our house. There was another road across the highway where there were some houses, and I just assumed she lived there. And then all of a sudden the bus stopped right at the dirt road. There was a dirt road that kind of veered off to the right. It went down and around behind our house, and then it picked up the main road again. She got off right there, and I watched her walk down the dirt road, and there was a house back there that I didn't think anybody lived in. I guess she might have just moved in. But anyway, as soon as we got down to my house, I had to jump on my bike and head down the dirt road and see what was going on down there. Maybe I can catch another glimpse of her. I went back and forth in front of her house quite a few times, and then I finally realized it was senseless at this point, and I went on home. Now the next day was Saturday, and normally I'd get up and watch cartoons all morning like all the other kids, but I didn't have time for cartoons that morning. Got up, went out, hopped on my bike, and headed down the old dirt road. So I'm cruising along, and I get pretty close, and all of a sudden I realize there's someone standing out right where her driveway meets the old dirt road, and I realized it was her. Didn't know what to do. Oh man, what am I going to do now? So there was only one thing to do. Put my game face on and blow right by her. I wasn't going to acknowledge a girl. So I picked up a little speed. I was really cruising now. I must have been doing about 70 miles an hour, and I flew on by her. And all of a sudden I heard somebody yell, "Hey boy!" Hit the brakes, turned around and looked back. She had turned and was staring right at me. I really didn't know what to do. So I figured it'd be best if I just got back on the road. I was about to get started again, and I heard her yell again, "Hey boy, get over here. I got something I want to show you." So I laid my bike down and I walked on over. I'm standing there looking right at her. She's quite a bit shorter than me. So I'm looking at her and she says, "Close your eyes and put your forehead on mine." What? And I looked over back at the house to see who might be watching. She turned around and looked at the house, and then she looked at me and said, "I ain't trying to kiss you. Now close your eyes and do as I say." Okay. I closed my eyes. She put her forehead right on mine. And all of a sudden I heard her say, "Open your eyes." And when I did, she said, "Look at there, ain't that something? We got one big eye." And we sat there for a few seconds staring into each other's big eye. Then she stepped back. She gave me a full smile, said, "I gotta go." She turned around and I watched her walk into the house. So if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about here, you can try this with anyone, or you can even try it in a mirror. Put your forehead right on someone else's and look straight ahead, and it'll give you the perspective of someone with one giant eye. She showed me her giant eye that day. I thought that was so cool. And in that moment, she tore down that wall of mystery in many ways, but in other ways, she built it higher. It didn't take long after that to figure out who Tammy was. Her brothers and sister lived right down the road. Angie and Joey were in our class at school, and they had two older brothers, Jeffrey and James. Then we had cousin William that lived right down the road next to him, and a couple other kids in the neighborhood. Jimmy Spell was down on the left. Michelle and Stuart Crosby were on the right. And then, of course, there were me, my brother Jeff, and my brother Kevin. We had a pretty good little gang of kids in the neighborhood. So over the next couple of years, we all became really good friends. These are the kids I hung out with after school and on weekends and in the summers. We were a good group of friends. Now in 1981, my mom made what I consider to be a very smart decision. She packed us up and moved us back to her hometown in Illinois. And that's how we got to Muscuda. Now, when I first got here, I really missed my old friends, but I made a lot of new friends. So, you know how it goes. I started getting heavily into music. The next thing you know, I'm in high school. I discovered this band, Metallica. I become a big Metallica fan. You know, life just continues to move on. That's how it goes. But I never forgot my old friends in South Carolina. Now, in 1999, Metallica gave us a really cool project. They collaborated with Michael Kamen, who was conducting the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra, and they released the album S&M, Symphony of Metallica. This is one of the greatest things Metallica ever did, in my opinion. The album is exactly what it says it is, Symphony and Metallica. You've got the San Francisco Symphony, conducted by Michael Kamen, and Metallica on the same stage, playing Metallica's greatest songs. The minute I got the album, I tore it open and I started reading through the track listings. And when I got to No Leaf Clover, I stopped, I just smiled, and I stood there and I thought of Tammy Frierson. You see, what had happened was, a couple years before we moved to Illinois, I'm not exactly sure what year it was, but I don't know what I was doing. I heard a knock on the door. Went and answered the door, and it was Tammy. She wanted to know if we wanted to go look for four-leaf clovers. I asked her where Joey and Angie were. She said she didn't know, but we could go. So I couldn't miss an opportunity like that. Closed the door, and off we went. Through the path, down the dirt road, into the field behind Tammy's house. As soon as we found a good spot, we both hit the ground and started looking, and all of a sudden, we both looked up at each other, and we couldn't believe it. We found a whole patch of four-leaf clovers. I can't even explain how excited we were. You might be able to imagine if you've ever gone out looking for four-leaf clovers. They're normally pretty rare. I mean, they were everywhere. We had hit the jackpot. We had enough luck to save the world if we wanted. Not really, maybe, but in the moment, that's what it felt like. So I said, you know, what do you think we should do? Tammy said, let's pick as many as we can and share them with everybody. We've got enough luck for everyone. We were just so happy. So we spent quite a bit of time picking them. We both rolled up our shirts and filled them. And when we finally had as many as we could possibly carry, we decided to head home and we figure out our plan from there. Right when we got around the trees and into Tammy's yard, we saw there were a couple of adults over working on a car. Mr. Stanfield and his friends were messing around. So we gave this guy one. He took it and looked at it and said, "Ha, nice try, kids. That ain't Clover." Threw it down, but it sure does look like it. We just looked at each other. We didn't know what to think. So with our shirts full, we walked over to the dirt road. What do you want to do? I don't know. Might as well throw them away. So we took them and threw them in the ditch. Now we were kind of bummed out and everything. It's just the way it goes when you're a kid. We got over it. But like I said, when I saw the name of that song and then listened to it, it reminded me of only one thing. That day, about 20 years earlier, with Tammy Frierson. So about a year or so later, I ended up seeing the No Leaf Clover t-shirt. It was a really awesome shirt with a Pusshead design. For those of you who don't know, Pusshead's an artist who has done some incredible work for Metallica. This is one of his pieces, the Damage Inc. skull. The front design on the No Leaf Clover shirt has a big skull biting into an eyeball. This is actually the shirt. It's in the quilt my mother made me. And then when you turn it over on the back, it's got a smaller Pusshead design, and it's 4 skulls biting into an eyeball. And actually, I've got it right here. So you can imagine, when I saw this picture, for 2 reasons I was reminded of Tammy Frierson. First of all, we've got the four-leaf clover, the no-leaf clover, but in the center, they're biting into a giant eye. Kind of like the giant eye she showed me when we met. This has been my favorite Metallica shirt since I first saw it. I've probably owned 10 of them over time. I've worn it twice in previous episodes of Color Our World Blackened. As soon as I saw that shirt, I had to buy one, and I went and I took it, showed it to a couple friends, and my one friend Jeff said, after I explained it to him, and he said, "Dang, the Tammy Frierson?" And I said, "Yep, the Tammy Frierson." He remembered that story from as far back as I had known him. He just kind of laughed, said, "Man, you need to get a hold of her." I didn't know how. We didn't have Facebook then. I didn't want to disrupt her life. Life went on. So at the end of 2010, when I got my first Facebook account, I just started looking up names from South Carolina. I looked for Louis Catterton. He didn't have an account. He was an old friend of mine, but his wife did. I added her and continued. Joey Robertson, Craig Brown, Terry George. All these names from my childhood started to come back into my mind. Miss Teresa Goff, Randy Beach, Brad DeLoach. You all know how it is when you got your first Facebook account. Tanya Smiley, Rhonda Callahan. I was just really excited. All these names were popping up. And all these people had Facebook accounts. We were moving into the future. The one I hesitated on was Tammy Frierson. I just didn't know what she was going to say to me. It had been so long, we kind of had completely lost contact. Anyway, I finally did it. I sent a message to her and I said, "Hey, you remember me?" She responded instantly. "Do I remember you? What are you doing, man? What's going on?" She got pretty excited. As excited as I was to hear from her. We talked that night via Facebook Messenger for hours. One of the first things I said to her was, "I got to ask you something. Do you remember the four-leaf clovers?" And she said, "Do I remember? Hell yes, I remember. They were real, damn it." That told me right there that she clearly remembered. Again, I don't know how many hours we spent talking back and forth, but we both pretty much proved to each other that we had never forgotten much of, any of the stuff we'd done. It was just great to talk to her. That is the magic of Facebook, but you already know what that's all about. The one thing I was dying to find out was, is she a Metallica fan? Turns out she knew a couple songs. She likes a couple songs, but now for the most part, she was into country, 80s pop, 90s pop. She's a really big Pink fan, but not so much Metallica. And as it turns out, none of the people that I hooked back up with from childhood were huge Metallica fans. My friend Louie did get to see him with Guns N' Roses and Faith No More in Columbia, South Carolina in 1992. So that was really cool to hear. But other than that, for the most part, everybody had different tastes in music. Okay, so here we are in 2018, right in the middle of this Color Our World Blackened project. And I've been giving it some good thought and thinking a lot about who do I want to do a trade with to represent South Carolina. So here we are in 2018, right in the middle of this Color Our World Blackened project, and I've been thinking a lot lately, who do you want to represent South Carolina with a trade? And it wouldn't be too hard. I could go into Met Club and find someone from South Carolina, some super diehard fan, but I think it would be a little more appropriate to do something with more significance. So I already showed you the shirt. I shot Tammy a message and I asked her if she'd like to do a trade, represent South Carolina, and she said, "But what am I gonna trade you? I don't have anything." And I said, "Don't worry about that. Hop on eBay and grab something. That's why they made eBay, for moments like this." She laughed and agreed to do the trade. So I'm gonna be sending her the No Leaf Clover shirt. The more I look at this, the bigger it looks. It's probably gonna be too big for her. You might have to make it a night shirt, Tammy. This is an original. It's on Giant. That's what the tag says. This is not the easiest shirt on earth to find. I kind of got lucky here. And while I was at eBay, I went ahead and searched up four-leaf clover, see if I could find something a little extra to add in the package, and I came across this cool little necklace. It's just a little four-leaf clover smashed between these two stones. The cool thing about Tammy is this four-leaf clover could be encased in diamonds, and she wouldn't be any happier than the glass is going to make her. I sent her a picture on Facebook. Said, "Hey, look what I got you for under 99 cents. She got excited. She said, "Man, that's pretty. Send me that." Well, that's why I got it, so you know it's yours. I'm going to send her the shirt, the necklace, and some stickers. She has got her hands full with a bunch of little grandkids. She's got 8 grandchildren. She's got 4 children, 3 beautiful daughters. They're all grown up, and they've given her 8 grandchildren. She also has her youngest, her son Michael. So I'm going to throw these stickers in the package for the little grandkids. Nothing to do with Metallica, but, kids love stickers. All right, let me get this wrapped up. Here comes! Alrighty, so there it is, Tammy Frierson in Walterboro, South Carolina, coming at you.
This is Tammy Frierson Chambers from South Carolina, and I've got my package from Mike, and let's see what I got in here. I got a shirt. Thanks. I'm going to try it on, see if it fits. He says it's going to be big, but I think it's going to fit. It fits. Okay, let's see what else. We got some stickers. Thanks, Mike. And my clover necklace. 4-leaf clover. It's all about. Just wanted to say thanks, Mike, and I am so happy to be part of this Blackened project of yours. I'm so proud of you. You're going to do great.
Alrighty, so that was my old friend Tammy in Walterboro, South Carolina. Thanks, Tammy. That was awesome that you took the time to make the video. The shirt looks good on you. It's not too big. And she sent me my package. It arrived. And I'm going to go ahead and get this open. Alrighty, so here it is. Another one. My favorite shirt. You did good. It's an official Giant. And what's on the front of my shirt is on the back of her shirt. And what's on the back of my shirt is on the front of hers. I thought that was pretty cool. I'm really not sure about the title of each art piece. I asked a couple friends, and the way I've always taken this, the one that's on the front of her shirt is the piece of art known as no-leaf clover. A lot of people call this the no-leaf clover shirt, but on the back of this one, it says no-leaf clover above that piece of art. And this small print that was on the back of the other shirt, it says, I see the lucky piece. EYE, I see the lucky piece. And I'm pretty certain that's the name of this piece of artwork. If anybody can tell me otherwise, straighten me out. I went to a couple pretty good reputable sources, and they were kind of in agreement with me. That's the way they've always taken it. No biggie, just a little trivia on the side. If anybody can give me the real 100% rock solid answer, please leave me a comment. Thanks for the trade, Tammy. See, it was that easy. You did great. And now let's color in South Carolina. I've already got the border. Here we go. Alrighty, so there we have it. South Carolina has now been color blackened with the help of my old friend Tammy Frierson. Thank you, Tammy. Thanks for helping this project. Thanks for being my friend. Thanks for something you gave me over 40 years ago. In that simple act of childhood sharing, you gave me a gift that I couldn't break, that I couldn't lose, that no one could steal from me, and no one ever will. I'll take it with me till the day I die. I'm talking about that look in your big eye. You were the prettiest little Cyclops I've ever seen. I'd like to say hey to Joey Stanfield, his sister Angie, brother James, Jeffrey Stanfield, rest in peace. Hey Louie, hey Joey Robertson, and all my other friends I mentioned earlier. I hope every one of his lives is going well. And everybody else, as always, thanks for watching. If you like what we've got going on here, we'd appreciate it greatly if you consider subscribing to the channel. Tell your friends about us. Give us a thumbs up, a thumbs down. Leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. Until next episode, rock on.